The Aroha is a boutique resort which offers its guests the opportunity to experience finest hospitality amidst the scenic surroundings of Dhanachuli. Awash in white, the Aroha Dhanachuli is a unique blend of old and new, having successfully preserved its past charm of a colonial-style summer house to provide its guests with a lifetime of memories. The property is a harmonious blend of traditional architecture and contemporary comforts. The original structure of a summer house that once stood on the property has been successfully preserved to retain its original charm. Huge decks and terraces, antique furniture, massive glass windows with breathtaking views of the landscape, and the high-ceilinged lobby, replete with carefully selected furniture, can transport you through time to the bygone elegance of the colonial era. Modern touches are provided by contemporary upholstery and drapes. Pictures and artifacts that adorn the lobby and the corridors of the hotel have been carefully selected to enhance the experience of the guests. The Aroha is a piece of art and work of creativity. Each room is different in look, mood, and feel, yet each leaves an impression, an indelible mark. The 4 spacious suites and 6 luxury rooms offer spellbinding views of Dhanachuli's landscape and the snow-peaked mountains. The Aroha is the imagination and passion of a man who dreamt of creating this. That man is Sumant Batra, the leading corporate lawyer of India. He is the author of the popular coffee table book, The Indians, which received unprecedented media reviews.
The idea of the Aroha was conceived 7 to 8 years back, but it had to be put on hold. I was very busy being in early stages of my legal career, which required a lot of focus, attention, and commitment. It was about 2 years back that the idea was revived. It was during one of our trips to Dhanachuli, to our summer house, that I and Asha discussed that it's time that we start the hotel. When we reached Delhi, we started discussing the idea a little bit more in detail. The project required a huge amount of time, commitment, and resources. Incidentally, at that point in time, that Santosh happened to be visiting Delhi. He had signed a movie and was staying in Bombay. I discussed the idea with him. We had a few brainstorming sessions, and we agreed that this was something which we both wanted to do. This was something which would allow us the opportunity to show our skills, to show our art, to show our creativity.
Sumant discussed it with me, the idea with me. It was a distant dream at that time, but it was a very true and very physical medium of expression, of self-expression. I took the opportunity and discussed a few ideas instantly, and made a few sketches overnight, and we talked about it at length, and the process was very organic. It was one idea after the other idea put together, intercepted by hours of discussions on which direction the project should go, what it should be like. It was still a dream.
In the same way, 2 dear friends, Vivek Kaldra and Ajay Lamba, also got deeply influenced and attracted by the enchanting sight, artistic magic of the property, and the dream of the Aroha during their visit to the place, and could not resist of not being a part of it.
We were sitting at this summer house at Dhanachuli in August 2009. It was Satant's birthday, my wife, and Sumant invited us, since we were holidaying in the same area. Sumant invited us for a dinner and stay at the summer house. So while we were sitting there under the sky, which was full of stars, it was someone shared this dream this summer house into a boutique resort. And I thought this is a great opportunity to do something different with the person whom I love and admire.
Sumant and Santosh spent nights over months on the drawing board in this boardroom, providing shape to the dream called Te Aroha.
One consideration which was on the top of our minds in all our decision making was that we have to be respectful to environment. We were going to build a resort in a beautiful place, and we did not want to distort anything or offend environment or nature in any manner. So if you would see, and if you walk through the property, you would notice that the rooms, the various sections are built at various different levels. In fact, there are about 8 to 10 different levels in the property, and that the reason for that is that we did not disturb the natural fields of the hill and the mountain on which the property is built. So our effort was to build use the various fields, level them to the extent which is a minimum requirement of the architecture was, and use the property in a very natural way. One such challenge was to save these 2 trees falling right in the middle of where we wanted the restaurant to be. The easiest decision was to chop them off, but then it was not as easy, because these were 22 years old. We had seen them grow up, and we just couldn't really come about cutting them. And therefore, ultimately, we decided to redesign the restaurant. The restaurant had already been built halfway through, and we had to made a lot of alterations. But at the end of the day, we are so happy that we did that, and we were able to save the 2 trees. And then, to be sensitive to the environment was obviously adding another challenge. But we had to be respectful to that consideration. We've adopted a number of measures. We have done rainwater harvesting. We are installing solar power. We are doing other steps in order to make sure that we offend nature to the extent least possible. But at the same point of time, we did, I'm sure, do things which probably were avoidable in a number of ways. And what we intend to do is to offset those carbon footprints that we may have created by adopting some measures in the near future.
Most pieces of furniture are over 50 to 100 years old and have been carefully sourced from all over the country.
See this pillar, this is at least 100 years old, and this has been acquired from a worn out Haveli, and they were about to throw it away because they thought that this is virtually of no use to them. And we thought that this is a beautiful piece, and it can easily be incorporated at a prominent place in the property, and it looks fabulous, and it's so charming. I think it's very romantic as well. See these 3 beautiful ladies here. They were lying in the junkyard of a furniture house, and the owner of the furniture house said nobody would buy them, and I said, why not? This is perhaps one of the most beautiful and romantic beds from the Victorian era, at least 100 to 120 years old, placed rightly in one of the most beautiful bedrooms of the property. Very romantic, very loving, very inviting. If you see that this dressing table here, this is from the British Times. This particular bed has a French influence, and we decided that this is the most appropriate bedroom for placing this bed. In fact, for that matter, the placement of each and every bed and every single piece of furniture has been decided as per the mood and the ambience of the guest rooms, because it was very important that all the beds and those pieces of furniture complement the mood and the style of every single guest room, which in its own has an identity.
The summer house is a unique example of design and architecture which is tailored with sophisticated skill, dedication, and love. No doubt, it was difficult for Sumant Batra, who has very fond memories of the house and a deep emotional bonding, to let it go.
Initially, it was quite sad to see the house going away or to even let it go because it was quite close to our house, to our heart. We had built it with a lot of passion. Asha and I had spent some very memorable time here. And in particular, I recollect that straight after our marriage, and incidentally, we got married in Jim Corbett National Park in a resort by the river. It was, I remember very clearly that we had come straight after the wedding to the house here and spent our first evening here, which was obviously very memorable. So it was stressful to see it go away, but at the same point of time, there was the satisfaction that we were retaining the original charm of the house, and also the satisfaction that we would see it in its new avatar. So at the end of the day, there was a mixed feeling, but we're quite happy the way it has come out and delighted.
Building a hotel at 6,800 feet above sea level in a remote village is not the easiest of tasks. It offers many challenges and testing moments.
One of the biggest challenges that I faced once I reached the place was the challenge of pace. I was used to a certain lifestyle and a certain pace and level of execution of the project. But when I reached here and the reality struck me, it was very difficult for me in the start and very frustrating. And the same I can say for the people who were working here as well, because they were used to working at a certain level, of pace. So that was the most difficult thing that I faced when I came here.
It is very remote. There is very little resource available. We have to source everything from the plains, and the nearest place is Haldwani. Even for a single nail, you have to go there. Above all, it was the weather which actually threw whatever challenges it could in one single year. We have seen torrential rain, unprecedented in the last 20 years. It just kept on and on for 4 months, and we just couldn't really finish. I mean, I very clearly remember every time we finished the polishing of one section of the stone outlay, it would start raining and the polish would just go away, and then 4 days later we'll start again, it'll again start raining, and then it was just endless. And then the woodwork outside could not start, the roofing could not take place. Every single day was a new challenge, and then we were just about to finish. The snow arrived. We had not seen snow here for the last 3-4 years, and the kind of snow which we saw on 31st December was the first of its own kind in the last 20 years. And then to top it up, it snowed again in about 15 days. बादलों के दरमियाँ कुछ ऐसी साजिश हुई, मेरा मिट्टी का घर था वहीं बारिश हुई, फलक को आदत थी जहाँ बिजलियाँ गिराने की, हमको भी जिद थी वहीं आशियाँ बनाने की।
आप जो त्योहार इतना सुंदर दिख रहे हैं, इसके पीछे हमने बहुत कुछ किया हुआ है। हमने यहाँ पे देखा कि मौसम ख़राब होने से वजह से और बर्फ़ गिरने की वजह से हमने काफ़ी तकलीफ़ें झेली। जैसे कि हमारा कई रास्ते ब्लॉक हो जाते थे, तो उसमें हम देखते थे कि ट्रांसपोर्ट से जो माल आ रहा है वो कई रास्ते में फंस जा रहा है, तो वहाँ से हम आदमी का इंतजाम करना चाहते थे, लेकिन आदमी नहीं मिलते थे वहाँ पे। उसके कारण हमने घोड़े से और खच्चरों से सारे सामान को धीरे धीरे ऊपर इतना ऊंची पहाड़ी पर हमने लाया, और जो हमें चीज़ बनाना था उसको हम बनाते रहे। जहाँ पे हमने देखा कि यहाँ पे ये अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है, तो उसको हमने कई बार तोड़ा और उसको फिर हमने कागज़ पेंसिल से उस चीज़ को बना करके हमने देखा कि ये चीज़ बनेगी, तो उस चीज़ को हमने बनाया।
बहुत परेशानी हुई है यहाँ पे काम करने में भी, क्योंकि काफ़ी बर्फ़ गिर जाता था, और बर्फ़ से हाथ बहुत सुन्न हो जाते थे, उंगलियां सूज जाती थी, काम करने में आग जलानी पड़ती थी। और आग जला के फिर हाथ सेक सेक के काम पे लगते थे।
हमने 2 साल से मिस्त्री का काम कर रहे हैं। यहाँ में काम करते हुए हम लोग ठंडी के दिन में हम लोग बहुत पाला महसूस करके हमने काम किया। हमने ईंटा का जुड़ाई किया तो वो चपक नहीं रहा था ठंडी पाले गर्दी से। हमने बहुत अच्छे से मेहनत करके बिल्डिंग खड़ा किया। खड़ा करके हम लोग बहुत अच्छा अपना आनंद से अपना बढ़िया से बनाया उसको। बहुत अच्छा होटल को तैयारी करके हमने दिखा दिया।
मतलब बर्फ़ में हम लोग काम करते ही रह गए, बर्फ़ हटा हटा कर।
But I really feel sad for those people who were working overtime to finish the task here, because it was difficult to work in that freezing cold, in that harsh environment and climate. It was not easy. Hats off to them. And I must admit that I really am very, very grateful to these people who have really brushed aside all these challenges, dealt head on with all the environmental challenges which we came across, the climatic changes, all the issues, and have really worked hard to make it happen. And at the end of the day, the whole effort shows in every single detail of the property. You can walk around the whole property, you can see that it is a demonstration of the skills, effort, passion, love, labor of every single individual who has worked here.
आज से 12 साल पहले सुमन जी का मैंने घर बनाया, उसमें मैं मिस्त्री था। आज मुझे बहुत गर्व होता है कि ते अरोहा में आज मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हूँ।
The summer house of Asha and Sumant is now Te Aroha, Dhanachuli, perhaps one of the most beautiful destinations in Uttarakhand. It truly represents the character and personality of the man behind it.
Also, we were very clear in our minds that we wanted to give to Dhanachuli and its people more than what we take away from here.
And more importantly, the woman behind the man.
We also wanted to share this beautiful place with the rest of the world. We hope you will enjoy it as much as we do.